Hello, welcome everyone. We're just going to give everyone a minute to get settled here. Um, so we will just let folks come in. There's quite a few of you joining us. As you're joining, I am just going to let everybody know that we do have interpretation for today's webinar. So if you go down to the bottom of your screen, you'll see a globe icon that says interpretation, and you can click on that and choose either English or French, depending on what language you want to hear. And I'll say that in French for those joining. Donc, bienvenue tout le monde. On va juste attendre quelques minutes pour que tout le monde nous rejoigne. On a les services d'interprétation, de traduction simultanée aujourd'hui. Donc, vous pouvez cliquer sur le globe intitulé Interprétation en dessous de votre écran et sélectionner français ou anglais. So I'm just going to give folks a minute to get in the room here. And I'll just say again, for those who have just joined, that we do have interpretation today. So if you go down to the bottom of your screen, you will see a globe that says interpretation in the same area that you have a Q&A and a chat and those things. So click on that and you can choose either English or French. All right. So I think we have quite a few folks who have joined us here. So I'm going to jump in and get started. Yes, and for if anyone isn't seeing that interpretation icon, the globe at the bottom of your screen, if you have a more option with three dots or something like that, sometimes on some versions of Zoom, it's in there. So if you don't see it right at the bottom, you can try clicking more if that's what you're seeing. Excellent. And if you're having trouble hearing, you can also try leaving and coming back in. Sometimes that resets things for you. Great. Okay, so I'm going to jump right in and get us going here so that we can really cover everything and make the most of our time here today. So welcome everyone. My name is Leah. I'm the Director of Knowledge Exchange at Women's Shelters Canada. I'm really looking forward to today's webinar, which of course we're doing in partnership with Mothers Matter Canada, and you'll hear a lot more about them and from them in just a minute. I do want to start by acknowledging that I'm joining you today from the traditional unceded territories of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. I want to acknowledge my responsibility as a settler to continue to learn about the historical and present impacts of settler colonialism and to support the work of reconciliation and decolonization. Now, I know folks are joining us today from all across the country, so do feel free to say hi in the chat. Let us know who you are, where you're joining from. It's always fun to get a sense of who's in the room. And on the note of participation, I will just note that I'm sure you've all noticed you don't have the ability to turn a mic on, turn a video on. We do have quite a few people with us today, already more than 100 folks in the room with us. And so just to keep everything clear and the audio good, only our presenters will have their mics and videos today. Everyone else, we do want to hear from you. There are two ways you can do that. You can either put a comment, a hello, something like that in the chat. Or if you have a question for our presenters as we go through, I'm going to ask you to put that in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. So questions in the Q&A and then comments or anything like that in the chat. And that just helps keep the questions separate, and it makes it much easier for us to make sure we get to everyone's question because they're all in one place. And one more time, in case anyone has joined us a bit later, I will also just note that we do have the interpretation today. So if you go down to the bottom of your screen, you'll see a globe with interpretation, and you can choose either English or French. And if you have any issues with the interpretation or any other technical things as we go along, just let us know in the chat and we'll do our best to get that solved for you. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce our speakers today, or our first speakers. So as you know, today's webinar is focused on sharing the results and impact of the SELF project, which was a pilot project that's been taking place for a few years, focused on supporting mothers who've experienced violence and their preschool-aged children. So I'm going to pass it over to Yusra Kadir, the Chief Programs and Advocacy Officer at Mothers Matter Canada, to introduce herself in today's presentation and tell us more. Over to you.
Thanks so much, Leah, and welcome everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. We are absolutely thrilled to see more than 100 people in the room. My name is Yusra Kadir. I'm the Chief Programs and Advocacy Officer at the Mothers Matter Canada, and we are here today to share with you our journey of implementing the SELF project. And SELF is the safe space for an early learning foundation. I am joined by three more colleagues. I was supposed to be joined by four colleagues, but I'm joined by three colleagues who have been at the front lines at transitional shelters helping implement the project. And they were leading from the front, serving mothers and their children. And you can see the names of the speakers you will be hearing from today. I will be starting off the presentation, and then we will hear from Liliana at YWCA Hamilton, Kate Molloy at Iris Kirby House, and Ida Raymond at YWCA Vancouver. After that, I will be presenting for Sophia House in Regina. The colleagues there could not join us today, but I will be sharing their learning with you. Next slide, please. I want to acknowledge that the Mothers Matter Canada central offices are located on the unceded and ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. And through our service delivery partners, we do serve communities across Canada, Turtle Island, and we deeply recognize the harm caused by colonialism and its impacts that have resonated and have rippled through all Indigenous people, and they continue rippling through and impacting them today. We feel like we have a deep responsibility in understanding the Truth and Reconciliation agenda, in telling the truth, and in understanding the history of the Indigenous people. So I invite everybody to reflect on the lands they're coming from and also their personal and professional efforts in understanding and furthering the agenda for truth and reconciliation. Next slide, please. So we are the Mothers Matter Canada. We are a national organization, and we create and oversee programs that are data-driven, that are really rooted in community needs, and we strive to make sure that our programs are responsive for the communities that we serve. We can meet our communities where they are, and we are dedicated to the well-being of mothers. We believe that when mothers fall in place, everything everything's good, children thrive, the communities are prospering, and the impact really resonates across generations. And we work with mothers that are socially isolated or low income, and our vision is that all mothers and children in Canada are able to achieve their highest potential. So we work with over 40 partners across the country. We do two things at the Mothers Matter Canada. One is that we are the home of the HIPPY and SMART programs. They're early learning programs that work with the mothers of children aged 2 to 5 years of age. And the programs transform mothers. They build their community connections, they build their capacity, and they build their confidence to be the best first teachers and the best advocates for their children. And the children are better ready for school, better ready for life, and the families are able to break through the vicious cycle of isolation and poverty with the transformed role of the mother and the enhanced school readiness of the children and everything that follows a good academic journey. Next slide, please. So the HIPPY program it's called the Home Instruction for Parents of Preschool Youngsters. It is heavily funded by Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada across the country. There's over 40 partner sites in Canada that implement the program. It is a home visitation program, and it serves mothers of children between 3 and 5 years of age. And every week, the mothers get a home visit. Every month, they get a group meeting, and they build community as they learn how to engage their child in high quality early learning activities by committing 15 to 20 minutes a day to spend with their children. The program has grown rapidly across the country, and it's primarily serving newcomers and various Indigenous communities. The program is available in English, in French, and there is an indigenized curriculum as well, which is culturally appropriate for participation of indigenous communities. We really believe in this program. We think it works with all mothers. It's just due to funding restrictions that we are working predominantly through our service delivery partners with newcomer and refugee families. So that's one big thing that the Mothers Matter Canada does. Next slide, please. And then we have a social innovation lab at MMC where we ensure that we are always responsive to the needs of our communities. We are innovating, we are adapting, we are making sure that our programs have the flexibility to adapt to the needs of communities in metropolitan urban centers and needs of communities at rural and small centers, needs of newcomer women, needs of Francophone communities outside of Quebec. Uh, and so the lab allows us to experiment. It allows us to learn so much. It allows us to test different approaches to some of the most complex problems Canada is facing. And it allows us to implement community-based and community-led actions, where we can be iterative, where we can really allow ourselves the luxury to fail and learn from that failure, and in doing so, decipher many solutions to the problems that our communities are facing. So these are some of the innovation programs that are being implemented, and it gives an idea of where they are being implemented. Next slide, please. So the self project for which we are here to share our journey with you, it it was a piloting experiment. It was an experiment where we wanted to pilot the HIPPY program and the SMART programs at second stage transitional shelters. So we work on GBV, we work with mothers, we work with many single mothers, and there was always this need where women living at second stage shelters needed this support. It's a difficult and uncertain time for the mother. It's a very difficult and uncertain time for the child, especially if they're preschool age because they're so young. And for the child, it's the formation years. They need their mothers or their parents' full attention and a strong bond to be able to develop and grow. And the mother is literally busy piecing their life together. And both the mother and the children are undergoing a journey of healing, and there just isn't enough time, or there isn't enough energy or resources to engage in something like high quality early childhood education. But the truth is that the engagement in early childhood education doesn't just help the child do well in school, but it just also helps them uh, develop stronger personalities, and it plays such an important role in child development. So we really wanted to be able to pilot our program at second stage shelters and learn how it worked, how we needed to adapt various approaches and various ways of engaging the mothers and the children. So there was a call for proposals by Employment and Social Development Canada, and we pitched piloting of the HIPPY and SMART programs at 4 second stage shelters, and we were joined by 4 partners. We were prepared to undertake that journey. We knew there would be a lot of challenges, but we knew there would be great and valuable learning. We really wanted to understand and allow for uh, knowing what complexities exist in Regina or in Newfoundland or in Vancouver, and really see what approach works for each shelter or the mothers at each shelter. So we went into this experiment knowing that one size does not fit all. We do not want to do that. We want to learn what works best for mothers at each shelter, and then document it effectively to share it with the community that we have gathered here. In the spirit of strengthening existing programs, in the spirit of being able to offer you another program that could be implemented should you have the resources or the need at your community. So you will hear 3 programs mentioned by my colleagues today. The first would be HIPPY. the second would be SMART, and the third would be Bond to Literacy, that's BTL. There's explanations about all three programs available on MMC's website, and we will talk about them. But please don't get lost in the language. We can share this information. They are early learning programs targeted at mothers, and the implementation modalities are a little bit different. But more or less, what each of these programs are trying to do is to build the mother's confidence and capacity and provide her with tools and resources to engage her preschool child. Next slide, please. So the four partners who joined us on this journey were Sophia House in Regina, the YWCA in Metro Vancouver, the YWCA in Hamilton, and the Iris Kirby House in St. John's, Newfoundland. So we had a great mix of partners, and I'm ever so thankful to our partners for coming on this journey with us. And I'm so pleased that you will be able to hear from our partners firsthand what worked, what didn't work, and how they managed the challenges. Next slide, please. I've talked about this today. We are very excited to share our journey, our successes, our failures with you, and to reflect on what we have learned. We really want to shine a light on the resilience of the mothers and how they tirelessly work to make sure that their children have a better future, and how small programming helps them achieve so much progress that we have seen at the child's level, so much progress we've seen at the mother's level with some engagement and with some flexibility. So we really do hope to grow and scale this program and develop partnerships with many of the people who are attending today. Next slide, please. I will give you a overview of what the numbers look like on the project, and then my colleagues from various partner organizations will also be sharing their numbers to give you a sense of the scale of the project. So there were 4 pilot sites. In total, over the past 3 years, we've served 105 mothers and their 130 children. The dynamics at each partner differed, as did the demographic of mothers, but you will see that the majority of the mothers, they were either in second stage shelters or they had moved from second stage shelters into the community while the program was being offered. And the program, they could keep the program because it became a grounding piece for them and their child to settle into the community. Uh, what this slide tells me is that women with all types of education levels, of varying age ranges, varying nationalities, and varying number of years they've been in Canada, they have all been impacted by gender-based violence. And we were able to reach out to a diverse group of women. 67% of the mothers did not work outside the shelter because they have young children and childcare isn't always accessible or affordable, and 95% of the families fell into the low income category. So while navigating the complexities, the mothers were also dealing with very low resource settings. And that's all while battling trauma and trying to work with their children and trying to make sure that they have the best chance possible at life. Uh, Next slide, please. So I want to not talk too much about what we did. I want to give the mic to my colleague Liliana from the YWCA Hamilton. At MMC, we believe that we don't introduce and tell other people's stories and empower people to speak for themselves. So we've moved away from the approach of long bios where we present the next speaker. We have landed in a place where we invite the speaker and we let them tell you about themselves before they share their story. So over to you, Liliana.
I'm not sure I'm allowed to open. Okay, I'm here. I'm here. Thank you, Josra. Thank you very much. And I really appreciate that opportunity to be my own story sharing. rather than having someone telling my story. My name is Liliana Figueredo, and I have been with YWCA Hamilton for 11 years now, always working with children and moms who are feeling different vulnerability challenges. I'm passionate about helping people to reach their goals in whatever way and shape their goals look like for themselves, rather than me telling them what they should achieve. And I love supporting mental health challenges while we navigate different systems. In this project has been just an amazing opportunity to exercise that passion with people who are really identifying themselves of having the need and being happy to be a part of it. So I will start by saying that the self project has made an impact bigger than we never expected for the community in Hamilton, and we are ever so grateful for the funder and for MMC for giving us the opportunity to be a part of this. Next slide, please.
Liliana, while you're paused there, I'm just going to ask you if you could try unplugging your headset and just using the computer mic. There's a bit of a buzz that's making the interpretation a bit harder.
Oh, okay. Just give me a second.
Is this better?
Yeah, that's. Let's try it like that, and I'll let you know if we have any other issues. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry about that. So let me just
actually, sorry. Yes, remove that, and then I'm just going to ask you to do one thing, and if folks just don't mind bearing with us here for 10 seconds, if you could just click on the little arrow beside your microphone there, we're just going to do a little echo cancellation. So click on that arrow, and then choose audio settings down at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then once you open that, go to advanced at the bottom.
Yes.
And then your echo cancellation, you should have maybe auto, aggressive, a couple options. If you can choose aggressive or high, whatever.
Yeah, it is high right now.
Okay, great.
That was done before, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Liliana.
Thanks,
everyone.
Oh, technology is great until it is not. So thank you for the help. Okay, so talking about Hamilton specifically, we had the opportunity to use the SELF program to help 20 mothers and 26 children that were enrolled in the program. I also have to say that above and beyond that, there were other children in the household that were getting the benefit without being clients per se or participants in the program. And like Georgia said, this slide talks about how gender-based violence is an issue that touches everyone, no matter what education level you are at, no matter where you were born, and what is your age. As you can tell here, our numbers are pretty similar to the overall numbers of the program. We have 5% of moms that reach elementary school, primary school, 25% of them went to high school, college, 35%, and university, 35%. Some people were relatively new in Canada. Some people had been in Canada for over 5 years, and then some people over 15 years. But interestingly enough, in touching on the fact that gender-based violence doesn't respect anyone, we have 50% of our families that moms were born in Canada. Most of the moms didn't work outside the home because, again, small children, and as Georgia said, childcare is not always as accessible as we wish. But some of them were full-time, part-time, or went to school. And 95%, I don't know if I will probably even say everyone in the program was low income. Next slide, please. Thank you. So what we learned so many things that it's impossible to explain that in 15 minutes, but the main points that I want to touch on are the fact that the HIP and SMART models, and not just the curriculum itself, but the model itself was a very structured way to support people in the early learning for the children, but also in the overall holistic way where they were supported in different aspects of their lives where they needed to. And that was one of the main, very rewarding pieces of the program. We have that core, the structure, but from there we grow in so many different ways. The home visits were a very important piece of the program. Every single mom identified them as key components that were helping for the success with the curriculum and with these other aspects they needed help with. Also want to talk very strongly about how much isolation is a big piece of the challenges these families face, and the home visits one-on-one were breaking that isolation. We had moms that talk about seeing the home visitor once a week was the only visit they got at all. So that was great. Very personalized, addressing those unique barriers, removing the barriers of receiving or accessing the program, because we went to them rather than they coming to us on our commute. Also that learning in social interaction with the child, so the home visitor or even myself when I did home visits allows us to develop this beautiful relationship with the children without teaching them, because that's not what we do. We were teaching mom, but that at the same time we were familiar faces for the children as well. We were again a sort of social connection, because isolation is a big issue, and moms were happy to have that one person coming to see them. And then the confidence of being able to teach the curriculum to their children, and also learning how to do that in their own environment. So they didn't have to navigate challenges on their own, but those challenges were navigated along with the home visitor in the practices. So when mom was teaching the child, they were able to know exactly what we're doing and how to overcome barriers that their environments might have. Then the cultural competency and adaptations were almost the approach of you really need to know that to provide service, you need to be flexible, you need to have some competency in terms of culture, not that you know everything about everyone, but at least being able to ask moms what works best for them and adapt the program to meet them where they are. So it could be literacy, the different levels of literacy. It could be the different levels of even focusing themselves as moms to be able to teach their children to focus. So there was a lot of flexibility. Next slide, please. We did field trips, we did play dates, we did group meetings, and then graduation ceremonies, and all those different activities played an important role for the children and the moms. The field trips were an opportunity to go places and then have like hands-on learning based on the different themes in the curriculum. We have the play dates for the children who build relationships among them and enjoy each other's company when moms were there, or sometimes moms were just dropping them at the play date and leaving to do chores or whatever they chose to do with their time, and coming back to pick them up, breaking bread together, the children eating together and sharing and staying, sitting at the table at the same time was beautiful to watch. The group meetings were more about specific learning or activities, and they were for moms, but they always were aligned with play dates, so mom didn't have to worry about the children when they happen. I taught the Circle of Security parenting program that was very beneficial for many moms. And then we hosted different guests coming to share different topics, like sometimes just fun of decorating cookies, or the holidays table, or making candles and why not. And then we made a point to do a graduation ceremony anytime that a family finished their either SMART or hippie curriculum, to really acknowledge how much work and consistency and love they have for the children. So we gave a certification to mom and the child, because they both were hard for that. Next slide, please. Challenges. So it was challenging to try to keep the criteria within specific shelters, because there was no control on our part of how many families in the shelter will meet criteria of the age of the children and why not, and also how many families will be interested in joining the program. So we overcame this issue by expanding the criteria to other shelters in the community, and even families who had left shelter within the last year of the program. So that really helped with allowing, making it more accessible to families who needed it. The availability for participants was also an issue, just the home visits and consistency. And we had a lot of flu season, and then people were getting sick so often, so cancellations, or maybe it was the distress of other circumstances happening in their life based on their experience with gender-based violence. And that, again, was handled by being flexible and trying to reschedule as much as possible within our capacity, in adapting also even some home visits to just be social interactions, emotional support, and leaving the curriculum on the side for a few weeks when it was needed. Next slide, please. The impact, well, the early learning, the skills, the practical school readiness of the program was extremely successful. The teachers at school, other family members were always acknowledging and asking moms, what are you doing? They are doing so well. You can tell they know what the skills they needed. They absolutely are excelling on them, and the changes are evident. So a lot of feedback from other people who were in part of the program about how much the program impact was showing in the children's lives. Then moms felt that they really were the first teacher and the best teacher of the children, because of their past experience. They had lost that confidence of knowing that they absolutely were capable, but now they gained that back, and that was really great. It was a strengths-based approach, so we promoted the learning with that bond between mom and children, and we had evidence of that, testimonials about how much the mom and child came back together after being in distress for so long, where even time and opportunity to bond were difficult, but through the curriculum they had also the play dates, the field trips and all that, they had found this space to work on the bonding between and among them. The fact that they are accessing support together. So we didn't work just with moms or just with children. We did it, we worked with the full family. Mom and children were together as a unit, but we also respected the different needs and the different approaches depending who we're working with. So it was a very good way to respect identities, but also respect that they are just one unit with needs on their own. We also were able to to build community within the program. So moms now were kind of seeing each other outside the program, supporting one another and helping themselves when they were in need. Next slide, please. And this is a testimonial. And as always, I tell people that I support, it doesn't matter what I say, what it counts is what you say, because you were the person who can say whether or not what we did was good enough or not, and it is okay to have whatever feedback you want to share. So I want to share this testimonial because, well, I want to share all of them, to tell you the truth, but this one was so meaningful because of the circumstances of this mom, and I will read it for you. Please be aware that I'm just copying and pasting from what mom wrote, so it is not edited, and why not? So the SELF program helped me get a safe space to talk about the emotional abuse, the financial, and it let me know that I had taken full-blown great step to leave my abuser. I felt the world was to be a better place, as SELF made me feel loved and welcome. It helped me to know that as a mom, I could easily teach my baby to make them ready for school. Being in a shelter, I enjoyed the fact that I had someone who always came in to visit with me and my baby. I have no relatives in Canada, so I felt so much at home with the weekly visits. The SELF program made me and my children love life after running away from an abusive husband. We felt love, especially because of the gifts that we were given. For example, tablet, toys, reading books, bags, and many more. So this is a family, a mother with 4 children, and who actually used the tablet to start learning technology, and it inspired her to take classes to learn how to use the tablet and just further her education in that field. Thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you for allowing me to share this wonderful program and the voice of this mom that reflects the voice of many moms in the program. If you have questions, I think we are taking those at the end. So thank you again. I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Kate, at Iris Kirby House.
Thank you, Liliana. Okay, so my name is Kate Malloy. I am a hippie home visitor here in St. John's, Newfoundland. I'm located at the Iris Kirby House, which is a second stage shelter for women and mothers fleeing domestic violence. Next slide, please. So here you'll see a slide that represents our statistics here at the Kirby House. Our SELF hippie program started in January of 2023. Over the last 2 years, we had a total of 35 moms, 47 children. Currently, we have 17 moms and 24 children in our program. I always like to note that 4 of these moms have been with us for the entirety of the last 2 years. You'll also notice on this slide that 75% of our families are considered low income. 71% are considered moms who don't do outside work or leave the home for school. It is really important to recognize that that puts their family at a higher risk of feeling isolated, and they often feel alone in their daily lives. Next slide, please. So for us here in St. John's, the hippie and smart model really thrived. It worked beautifully for our site. And a lot of that is to do with the dedicated moms who really prioritize their children's education. The one-on-one visits became very beneficial, allowing moms to take part in the program, but from the comfort of their own home. Recognizing that each mom has their own unique learning ways and learning styles, this program was tailored to adapt and made sure it worked for each mom individually. So we set up a hippie that worked for them and their family best. The moms also loved the home visits, the one-on-one times. It became an important part of their routine. However, our hippie playgroups and our field trips were definitely the most popular. Um, we love coming together as a group, experiencing things in our community. Everyone has a meal and leaves with to-go bags full, so they have supper or the next day's lunch. The children are always really happy to connect and speak and see familiar friends. It just builds a strong sense of community for moms who daily feel isolated. Next slide, please. So, some challenges that did come up over the last 2 years, scheduling, it could be difficult, but we would adapt the best of our ways. Some moms who did work, we would meet during their lunch break. So that way they could still participate in doing hippie, but it wouldn't disrupt their work commitments. Other moms only had their children 50% of the time. So we would adjust our schedules to a bi-weekly schedule with this mom. This provided a more quality time to focus on the material, but not feel stressed or overwhelmed. And then some moms had a language barrier that we overcame with translation apps. But as time and bonds grew strong, we would recognize key words or phrases that the mom would recognize and just incorporate that into our visits. For an example, using the word location instead of address or taxi instead of cab. Next slide, please. So, our hippie has had an amazing impact on the moms and the families overall. It helps the moms connect with the outside world, which can alleviate the feeling of isolation. A strong sense of community can be made through hippie. It empowers the moms to step out of their comfort zone and just engage with other moms who are experiencing similar situations. So many of these moms are still affected by the violence they endured in their life. Um, but with hippie, we play a crucial role in helping them rebuild safely with a little extra support. We offer pathways to healing and growth for the entire family, but especially for that mom. Um, they come out more empowered, more confidence, more built up. They thrive on doing, everyday things like calling for a doctor's appointment on their own or meeting with a daycare teacher and advocating for their child. Um, Hippie has helped moms navigate things that maybe might not seem difficult to most, but to them, it is a big step. One heartwarming story I have is from a client of mine. She is from Afghanistan, and I have been working with her for the last year and a half. She refers to me as her sister in Canada. So, to me, that really shows the deep bond that we have made just from this program and what the Hippie program has meant to her. Next slide. And so here you'll see a quote. This came from a mom who's been with us since the very beginning. She is incredibly dedicated to the Hippie program, consistently attending every single event, often arriving a half hour early to help us set up. So she is really committed. Um, she had shared with us some while back that she felt disconnection within herself before Hippie. And then through mom groups, she rediscovered a love for arts and crafts that she had always had. She really focused on that. It became a form of relaxation for her, a form of self care, and it allowed her to explore her own identity and express her emotions in a meaningful way. So, overall, I feel that Hippie not only enriches the mom's lives, but it strengthens the family bond, leaving them feeling empowered and confident. Next slide. So, the impact on the children. So, as the moms thrive in their lives and with this program, the children benefit directly. So, when we visit a family for the first time, the children are often shy and a little weary of us home visitors, us strange adults entering their home. However, they see their mom form a meaningful, positive, wonderful relationship with another adult. They see their mom relax and laugh and carry on with another adult. And then they feel the energy and the environment shift within their own home. Um, then we build a relationship as home visitors with these children. And then it's something completely different. Every week they're meeting us at the door or they're in the window for see their hippie friend who shows up every week. They share the joys of losing a tooth with us. Hippie really nurtures and fosters the confidence within the kids and their enthusiasm with their own life. Um, Hippie also helps a lot with transitions, which is a very important thing that will come once they go to school. They'll have to transition out of changes every single day. So we find that a lot of moms find it a little overwhelming to go out on an outing with children, very young children. And then maybe when it's time to go, you'll see some behaviors. Uh, but with Hippie, we really focus on routine. So children then understand, okay, we come and we play and then we eat and then there's a time to go. I've oftentimes assist moms with walking out to a car or a cab, making a game out of how many steps it takes us to get into the car seat. We've helped with putting on coats and putting on boots and finding lost mittens, just anything that makes it easier. I find this playful approach will encourage children to embrace these changes with excitement and readiness. It also helps with the children's behavior. Hippie, it kind of makes the mom calm on an outing. She knows the support is there. She knows she has hippie home visitors who are always there to help her. And she responds to her children's needs more effectively. And because of that, the behavior of the child, you see a shift and a change. Mom has more of a relaxed demeanor. And overall, it's more enjoyable for everybody on that outing. And then the self-identity for the children, I think, is a huge part of the field trips and outings. With Hippie, they get to experience an outing with other kids and they create self-identity outside of their home. During our field trips, they always look for their familiar friends who they know that they're going to play with, have a meal, have a great time, and then mom can relax because the transportation and snacks have all been covered. This interaction will help them build confidence and develop their social skills. It really helps as well with their self discovery and creativity, and encourages them, sorry, to have a positive self image. Next slide, please. And now I'd like to introduce Ida, who is from YWCA Vancouver. Thank you.
Yeah, so first I have to talk about myself a little bit. My name is Aida Rayman. I'm from Chile. It was a long time when I came here in Canada. I came without the language here, so I have to take all those steps in order to learn the language in Vancouver, and then it was a long journey for sure. And then I decided to do my studies, my post-secondary uh, here in Vancouver. I've been working with single moms, with nonprofits for a long time, many years already, and I feel like I'm a lucky person that I land into this hippie program because I'm very also inspired by this program. Um, I Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is a great map for you to have like a general idea about the demographic and also the percentage in terms of education. And surprisingly for me, I saw like a great percentage of mom in in Vancouver with the like high level of education. So those moms are super well prepared to carry on and take the next steps. But regardless of that, there are a lot of other challenges that you can see here in the graphic. Um, Also that there are newcomers, like it's a great percentage of newcomers, like 1 to 5 years living in Canada is uh, is a great number, but also not enough to create or plan their life in a different way here. Some of them are also facing or learning still English, so they are facing many challenges because of the language as well, like as a barrier. Um, so yeah, there's like I'm not gonna say much in terms of the map because you can also see there the numbers as well. Like it's understandable that they don't have job right now because they have to take care of their children. So at that age, there's like daycare is very challenging for the moms here, and for also housing is another issue as well. So um, because they are getting into a new stage of life after living in a family with their husband. So it's a long-term plan. So it's not easy to take the next step, of course. So that takes a while. Next slide, please. So just to put things in context here as well, the hippie started when the maybe w- uh, we don't want to remember, or we still remember that COVID was still like there, but kind of disappearing slowly. But a lot of mothers found out themselves because of the restrictions like social distancing. So they were, or they found themselves like after that very lonely, and that makes them feel like, okay, like we are in a transition house now, and what I have to do after this, because I have to learn a new life, and then like considering all the support that the organizations can provide. So the hippie program that I work with was is including the smart, because we keep saying hippie, but this of in my part I also we include smart as well, a smart curriculum, and we were able to support and help significant numbers of single mothers and their young children in transition housing under the YWCA administration. During those 2 years, the project could provide and assist single mothers with their children's 18 months to 5 years old. And then considering the difficult time those mothers face while transitioning into a new stage of life as a solo mom, they were open to receiving additional support during those challenging times. So Hippie arrived in a perfect time for them, and they always say that like it was the exact time where they need a lot of support. And the with the weekly visit provided by the home visitors, those mothers have the opportunity to obtain weekly support. And then despite their challenge though, those mothers were able to build confidence in the program, improve their relationship with their children, support them with learning skills, and build a community with strong sense of belonging. I will elaborate more in the next slides, please. Yeah, so in terms of the challenge, I found out that because the program was mainly inside the transition houses under YWCA, or we were comfortable providing the visit inside their apartment, but we also f- um, provide the service to the moms after they moved out to their transition house. So we kept providing the service for them as well. Uh, but because Hippie model and Smart provide such a clear instruction for each activity, and most mothers were able to finish the weekly curriculum as expected. However, some mothers may need extra time and this is because they also have to deal with additional family issues, such as courts, housing, making appointments, a lot of other responsibility on top that can be overwhelming for them. And in those cases, they may need to cancel, or they cancel, in our case, a visit and rebooking it for next week or so. So to support the mother, in some cases, we would give additional days to finish the activities and carry on with the next weekly curriculum as planned. So we were flexible. We must be flexible in these cases because is another way to also support, I would say, the mothers. It's just understand their daily life and their issues that they are having in their everyday life. So in some cases, the language was also another barrier. But that was, like I said, because they were taking the hippie English curriculum. So those mothers were also happy that there was another way to practice the language as well, which is amazing for the moms that also were not able to take English classes, or they were in the waiting list. To take English courses, but meanwhile they were practicing care with their young children. Next slide, please. So, in terms of the impact on mothers and children's, echoing the mother's opinion, this is a unique and very effective program that made remarkable impacts on each mother and their children. Initially, I remember those phases when we were doing the intake, like they were not, or the mother may not see the real impact yet, like not sure what would be the outcome of the program. But as they were advancing with the weekly curriculum and activity, they started to see the effort and result. So uh, those were some of the reasons that they chose to stay in the program while observing the improvement of their children. Um, those improvements can be reflected in many ways. For example, they have said that they know how to engage in educational activities with their children, feeling more confident and empowered to keep supporting their youngster. They also mentioned they improve their motor skills and language, especially vocabulary. Which is something that mothers were like having concern because of the social isolation. So their kids were not having opportunity or much opportunity to socialize outside. So while doing these activities, reading the curriculum, those weekly curriculums, going outside for additional activities, it was like the best thing for them. So from the mother perspective, I would say they feel more inspired, confident, and reliable with the help of the hippie program. Most mothers feel confident in teaching and guiding their children regarding schooling subjects. In some in some process as well, like bonding has increased, and they are more aware of the quality of time they spend with their children. Moms appreciate the opportunity and see the program as necessary and valid for them and their kids, as parenting is such an isolating experience for them. Uh, Especially when they go through the second stage process and in a new community. It's not an easy step. It's not easy for them. So it's like I can't imagine like a mother, one day living in a family, and the next day they are in a transition house, and then with people that they don't know yet. So this program was there to help them and to provide the support in terms of the curriculum support and visits. So moms did also moms don't have the to look for schooling and early learning resources to teach their children, because some moms were saying, I don't know where to find resources I didn't know before. So some of the mothers were struggling to find the right resources for their children. And also, according to the age, we all know how difficult is and challenging is and confusing is to find resources on Google. So this is, it can also be time consuming for them. Uh, so for the children, so mom, what said there is that they know better how to recognize a book title and how to identify the author's name. For example, there is a child who got inspired by the first book that was introduced in the under HIPPY program, and this she actually decided to make her own book, which was very cute, because she was working there very hard to make a second edition of the book as well. Like, she really got inspired about this activity and the first book there. Um, so also children feel confident in asking questions, which is so important at that age, that they are transitioning into, later to the conventional school, and those children will be well prepared for that. So they have increased their vocabulary as well. So they have improved their capacity to follow a type of instruction according to each activity. Which is another great skills that kids, not everyone may have that, but there is a guarantee there for the hippie moms and their kids that they were able to improve in that area. They're more curious as well. The program invites, and the weekly curriculum invites the kids to be very curious about results, about discovering, about exploring things outside, outdoors, and also doing experiment. So looking for outcome while doing activities. So that is also amazing for them, and moms feel very glad that that happened. Um, and also overall, like, the home visitors became like the one of the fundamental pillar in the family, because as a solo mother, as a single mother, they were alone trying to do their best for parenting skill, for parenting support. And the home visitor was there to provide the additional support. uh, is something that the moms highlights a lot, and they really appreciate that. We also provide those group meetings, play groups, activities as well, a field trip as well. In the group meetings, what happened there is that we provide different type of activities. So the moms were there to have a safe space. Um, Also a confidential space where they can share their feeling while doing craft, while sharing information. So it was a real community for them, and it's something that they really highlight a lot at the end. uh, so as a last thought here, we can actually go to the next slides, please. Yes, thank you. But before that, I just want to say as well, that this is like more, the quote itself, first of all, is talking by itself. This is a mother's thought, and I just added there as the way she shared this a reflection. Um, and I feel like what I said is reflected here as well. Uh, and then on my part, I just want to say as well that overall the HIPPY program has made a remarkable impact on single moms. Um, as another mother said as well, it is a good engaging program, very helpful and educational. In fact, this program became an additional pillar to support the mothers while they are in the transition house. When we asked the mother if they could recommend this program for future mothers, the majority respond with a strong yes. The single mothers also had the chance to practice English there. I already said that as well, So at the end, the hippie program invited the single mothers to explore new teaching methods of learning, helping the family flourish, and working together for the common good. Uh, I would say the hippie program is a need. It should be in everywhere, and like as a support for the early learning children. So it is a 5-star for the program for all second stage housing. Um, Thank you so much. And with that quote, I'm going to invite the next person, which is under the Sophia House.
Thanks so much, Ida. So I'm going to bring this full circle. Our colleagues from Sophia House could not join us today, but Sophia House is a very important partner as the majority of the women served at Sophia House Regina were Indigenous mothers, and they were not only navigating the complexities of fleeing abuse, but they were also dealing with the intergenerational trauma, and there were various issues around custodial situations of children, and the challenges were really complex. We also came we also experienced challenges and issues around substance abuse, and it was really hard, but we learned some valuable lessons. Uh, next slide, please. So I don't want to delve too much into the figures, but with Sophia House, all the clients were low income. I think over 80% of the clients at Sophia House were Indigenous women and their children, and they were all born in Canada. So next slide, please. So Sophia House was using the indigenized curriculum, and what happened was that it was really hard for the home visitation to be regular. So you've heard from various people talking about the hippie and the smart programs and the model of these programs. And I see a question in the chat that says the program is designed for newcomer and refugee mothers. That's not true. The program is designed for any mother who has a child between 2 and 5 years of age and they're isolated and they're slipping through the cracks. It's only because of the funding by the Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada that our partners are able to access money for newcomer and refugee women. So with this Indigenous community, the home visits, we just couldn't regularize them. For hippie and smart programs, you need to have some key components. You need to have one weekly in-person visit with the family. So you need to see the mom. In that visit, you share with the mom a weekly packet. It's a structured curriculum for hippie. And in the case of smart, it's activity cards and toys and books that go with it. So you share the activity packets, books or toys, whatever materials are required. You role play it with the mother, so the mother develops the confidence to uh, engage the child in the same activity once the home visitor has left. And you do a lot of listening as the home visitor, where you lend the mother a shoulder to cry on, an ear to listen to her troubles, and make community connections and referral to services for her. And you schedule the next home visit and you're out of there. The next home visit, the home visitor would check on how the previous week's home visit went, like how did the mom engage on the curriculum or the activities with the child? How did the child like them? Do they need help with any other activity? And over weeks of the structured curriculum or structured activities that are rooted in play, the child learns all the concepts that they need to start school. And in doing so, when they enter school, our public school system does not automatically label these children as troublemakers or people who have problems that the public education isn't equipped to deal with, and they they don't get um, reprimanded for things that they never had a chance to learn. And the mother who's already stressed does not get a call from the school saying that their child is creating problems at school. So it's a very preventive gender-based program, hippie and smart, both of them. So our home visits did not work. We tried our best, but the mothers, there were various safety considerations from, like sitting on the floor, needles in the house, the mother's ability to absorb or retain the instructions that were given, the the mother's mental health, the mother's guilt sometimes, not just at Sophia House, but in other programs as well, in trying to do the best for their child, but not being able to do so. There were some clients that did receive home visits, but it was very patchy. Some mothers had to go underground for safety reasons because they felt that their lives were threatened and we couldn't access them for a long time. Our partner Sophia House and the staff there worked really, really hard with all the mothers. And what we discovered was that while the home visits were not working, mothers keenly joined field trips and group activities. And that was great. And it says a lot about the community, the community piece. The mothers were invited to sometimes come to community rooms at the shelter to receive their home visits, but the mothers weren't always feeling up to it. And it was hard when you have more than one little children. It is difficult, but the group activities worked really well. The field trips were a hit. There were various drumming activities, there was berry picking, there was sage picking, and the mothers and the children felt that they were finding their way back to their culture, and it was really helping them heal as they participated in these group activities and they met other families who were in the similar situations as them. So Sophia House moved towards more group-based programming, and there's a program called BTL, the Bond to Literacy, which is a 12-week group-based program. It also has structured curriculum, and that seemed to work better for Sophia House. So just recognizing that the need was very much there. The mothers absolutely wanted to do it, but they just could not because they didn't have the luxury of time, or they weren't in the best mental health to be able to engage in these activities. Next slide, please. I've already talked about some of the challenges faced, but the ways that the partner dealt with those challenges was that they modified the curriculum. So every weekly packet in Hippie has 5 activities. There's a literacy, there's a math, there's a language, there's a motor skill activity in there. And every smart card, it has different activities as well. Some are creative, some are play, some are games, some are pretend play. So the partner really looked at what activities the mother was comfortable with. Maybe they didn't need to do all 5 or all 3. Maybe they could pick an activity that they thought was easy and their child liked. Maybe they could just, all programs come with books and activities that can be done with those books. Maybe they just read the books. If the moms did not have energy to read the book, identifying the author name and the illustrator's name and moving through the book, maybe they could just picture read with their child. Maybe they could invite their child to read the book to them. So we tried to make it as flexible as possible for them. And we were always there. We were always there. If they couldn't meet every week, could they meet every second week? Could they meet once a month? And that flexibility really helped us stay in touch with the mothers. Next slide, please. So the impact, I don't want to repeat everything that's been said before, but it did build confidence of the mothers. And we think that the confidence and the connection and capacity at the mother's level, that's a change forever. It's very, very powerful because then mothers start engaging their children organically in other activities, in other discussions. And as that bond between the mother and child develops, we see a profound impact on both the mother and the child and the healing process that they are on together in the case of the self project. Next slide, please. So I want to tell one thing about the Sophia House, where there were various children with development delays or neurodivergence, or children who were not vocal when they started working with the program. And there was some amazing language development, some amazing social skills development. There were various learning delays that were picked up at the mother's level as well, and at the child's level as well. And partners were able to help mothers connect to other services and supports. all the work and all the partners also help give mothers a sense of agency and understanding of what their child's capacity, potential, and skill level is, because then they can advocate with the school and make sure that the child is reaching their full potential at school in a public school setting as well. So overall, our funding for this project, this experiment, it ends March 31st. So we're just, coming to you with our learning at the tail end of the project. And there were various benefits. Some models worked in some places, some didn't. Um, some referrals were easy at some partners. There were like, I'll give an example. There's more services available where mothers can be referred to in Vancouver than there are in St. John's, Newfoundland. And just working with those realities and adapting our approaches and our services was hard work, but each partner did the absolute best possible in their realities to keep mothers engaged, retained. And we're at the stage now where the models are available, and any partners who think that this could perhaps be a good add-on to the work that you're already doing, or if you feel like these programs may be something that your shelter is interested in offering today, tomorrow, in a year's time, or it sounds intriguing, we'd really invite you to get in touch with us. We'd put our contact details in the chat. We'll have we'll go to questions in a moment, and we will be more than happy to provide you information pertaining to the project, the model, the flexibilities, and how perhaps the resourcing, the training, everything that you need to explore the potential of offering this to the mothers at your shelter or in your community. So I want to next slide, please. So we know that there was amazing child development. There was great early childhood education because these children were slipping through the cracks. They were not accessing preschool programs. They were not enrolled in other classes, and they weren't learning the same things that other children would walk into kindergarten with. So this program was really, really valuable for both mothers and children, and it really helped mothers knowing that they were able to give this thing to their children where their child will walk into school ready to take on what the academic and life journey is going to offer them. There was amazing growth and strengthening between mother-child bonds, isolation was reduced, and the confidence was built. So what we saw, next slide please, was a transformation in the mother and what she felt in terms of confidence, capacity, and community building. And that really trickles down to the child. This project was funded out of a bucket that was supposed to enhance school readiness or early childhood education opportunities for children, but we realized that we cannot do that in isolation for just the child. And we feel that working through mothers is the best way of doing it. It's the most effective, sustainable, and long-term way of doing this. So you can see our website, and there's a hippie video. The QR codes are there if you want to explore further. I will hand it back to Leah to help us with the questions and answers. Thanks so much.
Thank you. So I'm going to invite our presenters to turn your cameras back on, and we'll see how many questions we can get to here. Thank you all for those wonderful, wonderful questions. Or sorry, for those wonderful presentations. And we do also have many wonderful questions. So let's get into that. I'm going to suggest, because we do have quite a few questions, that maybe we try to keep the answers relatively short as we're going through, just so we can get to as many questions as possible. So one of the questions here is, as facilitators of the program, what has been an experience for you that has clearly illustrated the growth of the families that you've been working with? And so, I mean, whichever one of you wants to jump in on that, you can.
I can answer that. I think for me is to see how the impact has translated into improved quality of relationships in life for these families. Um, so just to give you an example, a mom who didn't go to school in their home country, so no literacy skills, and then she was able to go to school to learn English, but practice her English skills as she read books with the home visitor and myself and the children and her child. And that expedite her English skills to the point that now she was able to apply for a job in the field that she wants to work in. And when she was part of her interview was to do a practical like test of how she will serve tables. And when she was telling us about that, she said, "We can hear your voice saying you can do this. You're able to do it. Come on, do it. You can do it." And we were like, "Oh my God!" Like she was like, "It was just having your voice there because I was so nervous, and I did it, and I got the job." So that is just a proof of it is real. It's not just a feeling, it's like a practical impact coming from inside out. Yeah.
Thank you. Would any of the other presenters like to share an experience as well?
I could just add to that. I see just over the last 2 years, and for some moms, it's only been a year that they've been with the program. Just I know we've mentioned over and over the empowerment and the confidence piece, but we have moms now who are doing courses and going back to school, looking for driving education to learn how to get their driver's license. Those things are very um, I would have never even thought that in a year that that's what that mom would achieve. It's transformed the mom greatly. Even just kind of conversing and speaking on their kids' needs with daycare providers. Those kind of changes within this last year has been, I think, the biggest change because it affects the family as a whole. And then the children thrive from the mom being so confident and self-assured.
I just want to
Awesome.
add there as well that I think I didn't mention this in my part that we also provide like additional resources and some referrals as well. So I was happy with the curriculum, but also the other additional support. And the group meetings was for that as well. Like they were interacting each others and asking questions of what are you doing, what is your plan later, things like that. But also one thing that I also notice is that they feel very empowered now to communicate with in the future with the teacher at school because they feel now that they know what are their child's ability, capacity. So they feel confident now in saying, okay, I will support my kids in this way. And even if the teacher may question, I will say, I know what my child can do. I know what my child is capable for. So it's like, wow, I want to see those moms everywhere, I will say. Yeah.
Thank you. So another question we have is, someone observing that across the different programs here, some of you were working with a group of moms who were mostly Canadian born, some of the other sites, it was mostly newcomer moms, and wondering if there's any sort of, if you saw any statistics or data or had any sense of whether there are differences in the services or outcomes for newcomer mothers versus Canadian born, or just how that affected things.
Yeah, I would say in my case, the majority were newcomers, but we did have also mothers that were born here. So because the curriculum is only one, so there were not, way to say, oh, we're gonna make some difference. But the mothers who were born in Vancouver, in Canada, so they also were there to support the newcomers with additional information. So the like the the diversity there make the group feel more supported as well, because the newcomers mom may not feel confident, to connecting with other moms that were born here. So the language level is very different, but at the same time, those mothers were there too. So they were sharing, and say, well, this is the way I do it, and like learning also Canadian culture at the same time. So it was one of the best way, like the group activities was meant for that, and I really saw the result of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Um, so another person sort of observing, traumatic events might impact the mothers and children in ways that are difficult for them to understand. So what kind of response or support is provided through these programs to help the women feel empowered through self-care and self-healing? Is there literature or resources that that can kind of empower them in that way and help them and their children feel safe and contribute to their success?
Can I
Um,
can I
oh,
pick
sorry.
the first piece, and Kate, you can for sure you
Sure.
add on. So I just
Yeah.
want to say this was a huge concern, and this project was very heavy-handed on capacity building of staff, because to be able to serve these moms, with high needs and with high, you get a lot of emotional baggage as somebody who is serving multiple mothers, and so there was a lot of training for staff on uh, violence against women, GBV, trauma informed work, trauma aware practices. At sometimes we thought, like, is this too much training? There was training on emotional CPR, but it's just that the group that we were working with, it was so essential to make sure that staff can do that work and turn up the next day to do that work again. Over to you, Kate.
Yeah, I was just going to add, both myself and the other home visitor, I find that we are, not to pat myself on the back, but very trauma informed. I myself have worked with children who were removed from their families for 5 or 6 years, so I saw indirectly the outcomes of intimate partner violence and how that affects the child. I really enjoyed getting to work with the mothers through Hippie to see the other side of it. Um, but I'm really grateful for all the training that I got through this program. And just to add on to what Yusra said, she just happened to bring up emotional CPR. I think that was probably my most used training I've ever used. I Every home visit, I think I took it with me. My personal life, I take it with me. It's just the amount of emphasis you have on actively listening and validating the points and the feelings and the emotions that the person that you're communicating with is having, and then in the end they come up with their own type of solution to whatever the issue is. It's just a really supportive way of walking someone through maybe a traumatic experience that they're telling you about. But yeah, I feel that the training really helped. It was an amazing part, and then to take it into the home visits, it went hand in hand.
I would like to add to that, because it's such a important question, because it is so rich in so many ways. The training from Autism Canada was like an amazing tool for us as workers to understand where these moms and where these children come from, that we were able to share those skills and knowledge with the moms, which made a huge difference. The emotional CPR, absolutely 100%. And in my case, the Circle of Security curriculum has a lot of introspection about their own childhood and their own trauma, and how to recognize that as a group and see how they're not alone in their experience, but other moms are experience the same and are trying to do better for their children, and how that training afterwards. I got moms saying one of the terms used in the curriculum is the charm music, which is those feelings of unease or reactive, and they recognize that as something that it comes to their mind when they are interacting with the children and when they are having all those fears and frustrations, and how to use that to better react to their children and be more meeting their needs rather than just getting frustrated. So I think training was key in this program. And obviously, the Y has a lot of training that we get all the time in trauma informed approaches. And the specifics of the training for the self program workers was like an absolutely amazing tool to help with that.
Just to add a last word there is that also under YWCA administration, the organization there also has, it's like a team, it's like a big team there as well, because they can also have access to the support workers. So for additional support in this case, if we don't have the capacity to support in other ways, so we would connect with the support worker there, and then that other piece of the or member of the team will carry on with additional support there, like in any ways that the mother may be requesting additional support there.
Thank you. And so we're almost at time here. And just to wrap us up, because a few folks have put questions in that, user, I know you've been answering sort of in writing, but maybe I can just turn it over to you to just say again, if there are folks who are listening and they're really interested in finding out more about the programs or how this could get started in their community or their shelter, or does this exist already in their community, what should those folks do?
Thanks so much, Leah. So that's why we're here today. You should visit the Mothers Matter Canada website at www.mothersmatter.ca, and the website and my email address is going to be put in the chat as well. So please visit the website and you can see where the programs are located right now. Most programs are for IRCC eligible clients, which means newcomers, immigrants, refugees. But now we have a model. If you feel like this program would benefit mothers at your shelters, please get in touch. We're going to have to look for funding. I want to be completely transparent. It's not going to be that you're going to send me an email and we're going to be like, here, let's go and start implementing it. But I feel like if there's deep need, there's always ways to look for funding, and sooner or later we can make it happen. So I'd be very pleased to hear from you and get an idea of what interest levels look like, to see how we can potentially work together to mobilize funds to get something started. And that's that.
Thank you so much. And we will send out all of this information as well afterwards to everyone who registered. So we'll send a copy of the presentations. We'll include, the Mothers Matter Canada website and user's email address and all of the other information that's been shared, so folks can have access to that. So to wrap up here, I want to say thank you again, Yusra, Liliana, Ida, Kate, for these wonderful presentations. It's been so informative, and I don't know if you've been able to keep up with the chat while you've been presenting, but the feedback has been so positive. Folks are really interested in this work. So thank you for sharing with us. Thanks also to folks who've been in the background helping out, Amy and Valerie from Mothers Matter Canada, as well as our wonderful interpreters, Danielle and Shadis. Thanks everyone for making this happen. And thanks to everyone who participated. We couldn't do it without you, so we appreciate you all coming out and taking this time with us today. So thanks everyone, and we will be in touch over email. Have a great rest of your day. Bye everyone.